Hi, in this video we're going to be showing you how to assemble this nightstand. This piece features Walker Edison's easy assembly drawer technology, which means the drawers go together tool-free, no stress, just simple assembly. Before we get started, here's a few things to keep in mind. Make sure you have a Phillips head screwdriver. Assembly should take about 30 minutes or less with 2 people and a little bit longer with 1. And just make sure all the pieces are facing the right way as you're putting it together and you'll do great. We're going to focus on the trickier parts and go quickly through the easier steps. So make sure you pause the video and complete all the steps as we go. With that said, let's get into it. Steps 1 and 2, we'll be putting cam bolts into piece 1 and dowels into pieces 3 and 6. Okay, and we're good to move on. In step 3, we'll be putting cam bolts and dowels into pieces 4 and 5. We'll put 3 cam bolts into each piece, and then 2 dowels on each side of each piece as well. Okay, and we're good to move on. In steps 4 and 5, we'll be putting our sides together with a couple of our middle pieces. So this is piece 3 and 6. We'll start by standing up piece 5, making sure that these cam bolt holes are at the top, and this groove is also on the top side here. We'll stand up piece 6 so that these cam lock holes are facing towards us. And then they're on the bottom, so they line up with this bolt here. We'll line that up with the bolt and the dowel. We'll also stand at piece 3, making sure that these cam lock holes are facing towards us as well. And this groove will be on this side, lining up with this groove here. So we'll stand that up and line it up with the bolts. And then we can put in 3 cam locks on this side. And then we'll stand up our other side, which is piece 4. Once again, making sure these cam lock holes are towards this way, and this groove is lining up along the inside. We'll secure that on this side with cam locks as well. And then we can move on to step 6, and we'll be attaching the top piece. We'll be lining this up at the top of our piece, making sure that this angled edge here is on the top side. We'll line this piece up with the rest of our piece, making sure that this flat edge is lining up along this back side and the angled edge is on the front. And it may help just to flip this piece over and put it on the top of your top piece instead and assemble it upside down. Once that's together, we can secure that with 4 cam locks. Okay, once we have that secured, we can move on to step 7 and we'll insert our back panel. We'll insert it so that this sticker is facing towards the back into this corner here. Slide it down in these grooves. And then we can move on to step 8. And in this step, we'll take piece 2 and line it up on the bottom, making sure that this angled edge is facing towards the front and this groove lines up with our back panel. We'll line this up with the dowels. And then we'll secure that in place with 4 bolts. Okay, and then we're good to move on. In steps 9 through 11, we'll be putting together pieces 7, 8, and 9. So we'll start by putting in these little blocks. And we'll put this peg into the hole here so that the other hole lines up with the screw opening. Once we have those lined up, then we can put bolts in to secure those in place. And then we'll also attach these brackets onto the pieces so that they sit just like this. And we'll secure that with a bolt as well. And just make sure that the piece lines up just like this, so it should be flush against the edge. Once we have all of those parts attached, then we can put the pieces together. So we'll flip this over so that these pieces sit flush against the table. We'll put piece 8 on this side, once again with these facing down. And line it up with the corner here and put in a bolt. We'll do the same thing again with piece 9 on the other side. Once we have those connected, then we can move on to step 12 and we'll attach this to the bottom of our piece. And you'll want all of these to be facing down so that these pegs go into the piece. And you also want this long edge to be on the front side of your piece. So we'll put it on just like this. Once we have this piece lined up, then we can secure it with our bolts. All right, once that's flush and secure, then we're good to move on. In step 13, we'll be inserting our wedges into the back panel. So with these, we'll just take this little flat edge here and we'll slide it in between the panel and the piece. And then we'll screw that into place. An exact placement isn't the most important, just make sure they're evenly spaced around the whole edge, and then we're good to move on. In steps 14 through 19, we'll be putting together our drawers. So we'll start by putting 2 dowels into our back piece, 1 on each side. And then we'll also put 1 dowel into each side piece. Next, we'll attach our handles to our front piece. So we'll put our screws through from the inside to the outside and line that up with our handle. And then we can tighten that, making sure that our handle sits horizontally like this. Once we have both of those on, we can put this piece aside again. And we'll stand up our back piece And then we'll attach our sides so that these openings attach to the locks on the sides and this groove lines up along the inside. And then we'll lock that in place. And on one of the sides, you may need to hold the locks so that they face the other direction so it lines up correctly. We'll lock that in place as well. And then we'll stand this up. We'll slide our bottom panel into these grooves here, making sure it goes flush all the way down. And then we'll attach this middle beam to the bottom, making sure that these locks are facing upwards like this. Line that up with the lock, lock it in place. And then we can attach the front of our drawer. And we'll line this up with all of our locks, dowels, and the back panel. Once we have everything attached and locked in place and we're good to build our other drawer, we can move on. For step 20, you'll put stickers on all of your cam locks on the inside, but we'll skip to step 21 and insert our drawers. So the way you'll put in your drawer is we'll line up the rails on each side with the rail inside of the piece. Helps to do one side first and then the other side. You should hear a click from both rails once they've connected, and then it may help just to wiggle the drawer in and out until it slides in and out effortlessly. All right, once we have both of our drawers in, then we're all done. We hope this video was helpful for you in assembling your new nightstand. For more guides, tips, and tricks, head on over to walkeredison.com.